Monday finally sees the start of the inquiry into whether institutions and organisations fail to protect children in their care.
The woman in charge, the fourth to hold the post, has been telling Joe that whatever her critics say, she's the right woman for the job.
It's the job nobody seemed to want, running the public inquiry into what happened to children in the care of a whole range of organisations, from charities and religions to children's homes and the BBC.
If something terrible happened to you as a child, and then years and years later you finally hoped something would be done about it, imagine how angry and bewildered you'd be to see a public inquiry set up and then appear to fall apart as 3 chairwomen resign and £18 million is spent with seemingly little to show for it.
But almost 3 years since its launch, on Monday the long-awaited public hearings will finally begin here at the International Dispute Resolution Centre in Fleet Street.
And we've been given exclusive access before it gets underway.
This room is where witnesses will be questioned and cross-examined on oath. Paul Marlowe is a paralegal on the inquiry.
The witness sits here, the chair and panel will sit up there. This is where all of the legal teams will sit.
It is set up very much like a courtroom.
Yeah.
Are there any differences given the nature of this inquiry?
On the witness table, we've got an additional chair and some additional space in case they wish to have some support with them to make them feel more comfortable. And we also have a security room. Safety for everyone here is of the utmost importance, so we screen everyone who comes in.
The woman in charge of trying to regain both public and victims' trust is Alexis Jay, its fourth and latest chair.
She has 30 years' experience in social work and oversaw the inquiry into child sexual exploitation in Rotherham, which found that at least 1,400 young people have been sexually exploited.
But some have raised concerns over her background as a social worker. So, my first question, is she right for the job?
I have spent my professional life in social work, in child protection and safeguarding, and I believe the skills and expertise I've gained from that do equip me for this. My motivation in Rotherham was to be clear about questions such as who knew what, when, and what did they do about it. And that's the basis of a lot of my investigative work on potential cover-ups and collusion amongst senior officers, politicians and others.
I think the budget for 2015 to 16 was about £18 million. Why does it cost so much?
This is the biggest public inquiry that's ever been mounted in the UK. We're properly and independently audited, but there's no question public inquiries are expensive.
Not only has it been expensive, it's also taken years just to get to this point, which has left some victims frustrated. How can she reassure them that their voices are finally going to be heard?
We have absolute commitment to take this forward and get to the truth in many circumstances, but also to move forward in the future and improve how we deal with these terrible and difficult issues for people.
And she made it very clear that everything will be discussed, no holding back.
It may well involve quite harrowing detail because there is nothing about child sexual abuse that isn't horrific. However, I've always had a view that society should not be sheltered from understanding the terrible things that collectively society and some institutions allowed to happen to these children.
Will it become known as the Jay Inquiry, do you think?
I don't know. That's probably the least of my worries at the moment.
Some victims and survivors have angrily walked away from the process. Michael May and Chris Tuck are sticking with it.
Let's look at the problem and let's find solutions for people. Let's not pretend it hasn't happened, put it under the carpet. Let's get it out there, let's break the silence, let's speak about it, let's understand the impact on people, and let's get them the help they need and deserve. That's what I truly want.
It's an opportunity for organisations to contribute their small voice so that we can make an almighty roar.
There's no doubt this is an inquiry into dark and difficult sides of public institutions, and there have been many negative headlines along the way which have threatened to detract from its original purpose. The reason so many people involved believe it deserves a chance to succeed is that only then, by learning from the mistakes of the past and the failures, can we really make sure we protect children in the future?
Thank you, Joe, and we wish Alexis J and her team well.
Okay, so let's get back on to the topic of Saturday Night Takeaway.
Yes.
One more day to go. And